Hello, 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 everybody. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Um, Let me introduce myself for those who do not know me. My name is Ifama Odunlami, immigration attorney at the Odunlami Law Firm. My firm serves clients in all 50 states in immigration matters, family immigration, humanitarian immigration. And I'm really excited to talk to you guys today. I have a really great topic. And this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. So let's get started. So if you come on in, please join me and tell me you're here. Say hello. Tell me where you're joining me from. And we can get started. Hello, Sushi. Hi, Angela. Uh, Hello, Agnes. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I did. Good evening, Trinity. Trina Deb. So it was nice to see my kids, my college kids came back from college. So even if it was for just 4 days, it was lovely. And I was really good this Thanksgiving. Didn't eat too much. Tried not to because I'm on a mission to lose the COVID weight. So thank you guys for joining me. Prince from Washington, D.C., Saeed, Obioma from California. Thank you. And BC from Nigeria, WT Carpenter from Wilmington, North Carolina. So let me get started. And typically I say hi James, how are you? I will talk about my topic and then I'll take a couple of questions, okay? So today I want to talk about something called Special Immigrant Juvenile Status. So this is a really, I guess, unique immigration relief, and it's designed for minors under the age of 21. And I remember the first time I heard about SJIS, that was many years ago. I was actually in front of a family court judge, because a lot of people don't know about SJIS, even judges, and a lot of lawyers, because it's a very weird construct that starts off in family court and ends in immigration, but both both venues have to be come into play for the child to be able to get their SJIS status. So I'm going to go through what it means, how to qualify, and the process. But this is really important because there's so many young people who are in the United States for many reasons. And there's nothing worse than to have a young person who is being prevented by the law from achieving their potential. For instance, you see a young person who came in with their parents when they were younger, and they came in with one parent. Maybe the other parent is in their country, was abusive. Maybe the other parent is here but has abandoned or neglected them. Or they came here on a student visa and all of a sudden they've been abandoned by the parent. They're by themselves here. Nobody's helping them out. Nobody's paying attention to them. Nobody's, is caring for them. Or it could be that, you have a child who came on their own, came through the border and finally made it through the treacherous journey to come into the United States, and parents nowhere to be found. Nobody really cares. He's here by himself or here by herself. There are many reasons why a young person would be here without without having somebody to assist them, somebody to help them. And the thing about SJIS is, like I say, it's a weird construct because the requirements for the first part of the case differs from state to state, but with the immigration case, it's the same. So I'm going to go through all of that. So let me start off by telling you what Special Immigrant Juvenile Status is. It is a way to get people under the age of 21 who are undocumented and present in the United States, to give them a pathway to a green card and ultimately citizenship, as long as they're able to meet the requirements. Number one, they have to show they're single, they're not married. Number two, they have to show that they have to be present in the United States. Number three, they have to show they've been abused, abandoned, or neglected by at least one parent, and I'm going to come back to what that means. Then number 4, they have to show that they cannot be united with the abusive parent or the neglectful parent or the parent that abandoned them. They cannot be reunited with that person by the nature of the abusive behavior. And number 5, that it's better for them to stay in the United States than to go back to their country. So the first portion of it being single, it's pretty much, you know, it's everybody knows, you're not married, that's fine. You're here, that's fine. So let's talk about abandonment, abuse, and neglect. What is abandonment? Well, is the parent in touch with that child? Is the parent in communication with that child? Or is he a parent that never had any communications with the child? Or is he a parent that calls the child once a year? Or is he a parent that just doesn't have anything to do with this child? It could be a parent that has never been involved in the child's life. And in some cases, in some states, it could be a parent that has passed away. So an abandonment could be a parent who has died. That's the law. So now SJIS does not require both parents to have abused, abandoned, or neglected. It only requires one parent. So if you're a single parent, single mother or single father, and the other parent has either abused, abandoned, or neglected your child, whether it's here in the United States or in their home country, right? And the child managed to find themselves here, SJIS may be something you could do to get that child their green card and ultimately citizenship, right? Now, abuse. We know what abuse is. Physical abuse. You're hitting the child with a cane. You're with a belt. You are smacking the kid around. It could also be emotional abuse. When you have a parent who is verbally abusive to the child, or treats the child in a way that causes that child a lot of pain, making them feel like they're nothing. There are different facets of emotional abuse. It could be psychological abuse, right? It could be a child who has to watch their parent being abused by the other parent. That's a form of abuse, right? It could also be what else? Physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, verbal abuse. It could be sexual abuse. My first SJIS case was a sexual abuse case, right? That was many years ago. My clients were children who were brought over here by their parent and a step parent. And the step parent was abusing one of the kids, the oldest, who might have been maybe 15. And the abuse occurred in their country and also occurred here. But it doesn't, if it happened only in their country, that would still qualify that child for SJIS. So we were able to get that child SJIS as a pathway to their green card, them and their siblings, because the other siblings witnessed the abuse of their oldest sibling, right? So it could be sexual, it could be financial, financial goes into neglect. Is that parent taking care of the child, right? Is that parent fulfilling their duty as a parent, which is to provide food, shelter, and whatever the child needs? Are they doing it, or are they refusing to do it, right? Or is that a parent who is, who has a child who's here and constantly, reaching out for that child just to get money, nothing else, has no other connection with the child, but just wants, or the child goes to work and the parent takes the money, right? So abuse, as we all know, is multifaceted. It's not one thing. It's not just physical abuse. So I guess the thing to think about is if you're with a parent who treats you bad, right? and you can, show that there's been abuse, abandonment, or neglect by one parent, you would qualify. You may qualify to file SJIS. Now, the other thing you need to show is that there can be a reunification with that parent, right, on account of the abusive behavior, right? And of course, you do not want to reunite with a parent that the child does not feel safe with. So if a child has said that they have been abused, reunification should not happen because that parent is abusive or neglectful or has abandoned the child, right? Now, the last requirement is that you have to show that the child is better off here in the United States than returning to their country. And in every case I've worked on, that is the case, because a lot of times the children come here for a reason. Either they're coming here to flee the abuse, or one parent brings them here. So what I want to tell you guys is, if you have a parent who is not neglectful, taking care of the child, but that parent is the only parent doing that, that parent could qualify to be the guardian to file an SJIS petition for their child. The guardian could also be a friend, a sibling, somebody who is over the age of 21 who is willing to take care of that child until the child can take care of themselves, right? And when I say child, I mean anybody under the age of 21, because that's a minor for SJIS purposes, right? But with the SJIS process, it starts first in family court, in state court, right? So that's why it's such a weird construct, because in New Jersey, you can get a predicate order from the judge if you've proven all the 5 things I discussed. The judge issues a predicate order, and in New Jersey, New York, and some other states, the child can get that predicate order showing that that the child is dependent on the court due to abuse, abandonment, or neglect. The cutoff in many states is 21, in other states is 18, and in other states is 19. So it depends on your state. And there's nothing as really, really, really painful as seeing a child that had just missed the cutoff, right? So it's important, if you know any undocumented person under the age of 21, you want to send this video to them, because this may be their pathway to getting a green card. All right. So now, the first stage, like I said, is to go to family court, present the case, and the court gets a predicate, signs an order, which we call a predicate order. Now, when you get that order, you can now file the SJIS petition with USCIS. And the form to fill out is the form I-360. That's the same form we use for VAWA. There's a section there for religious people who are looking to get their papers. There's a section there for VAWA petitioners, and there's also a section there for SJIS. So the requirement is to file the petition, the I-360 petition. It must be received by USCIS before that child turns 21. Must be received, not mailed by, must be received by USCIS before that child turns 21, right? And then there's been a change in the past year or so. There's been a retrogression, right? Which means that there's a backlog with SJIS cases. And so you have to file the SJIS first, get it approved, and then wait for your priority date to be reached before you go to the next step, which is filing the adjustment of status, which would allow you to get your green card. So what are the benefits? What are the pros of SJIS? Number one, it does not matter how you came in. It does not matter if you came in through the border, you came in undocumented. It does not matter if you came in with an F1 visa, a B1 visa. It does not matter. And that is awesome, because for a lot of cases, coming in uninspected or without admission is a problem to getting a green card. But with SJIS, it's a humanitarian-based relief. So it does not matter. And another great thing about SIJS is you don't need an affidavit of support. You don't have to show that you won't be a public charge. So if you file for, if you're a green card holder or you're a US citizen and you file for your child, right, you would have to file the affidavit of support to show that you're making enough money. Now, SIJS is a self-petition in the sense that you don't need an affidavit of support. You don't need to prove that you will not be a public charge. So that's awesome, right? Another advantage of SIJS is you're able to get a work permit, right? Able to get a work permit, and in some states you can get school loans. So it's amazing how many people, the fact that so many people do not know about SIJS. It is such a great way to help young people. Because the thing, I think about it, I see these young people who come for consultation. Some of them have come through the border through very, very treacherous paths, and they're here, and they can't move forward. They can't get a driver's license. They can't get a work permit. Or you have a child who comes here as a student, acing the grades, doing great, and watching his peers apply for jobs, get jobs, but he can't apply for, or he or she can apply for a job because they have no work permit. And so being here just, dumbs down their potential. And for a lot of them, they don't have a choice but to stay here. They cannot leave because there's nowhere else for them to go that would make them safe. So it's a horrible situation to be in. And I wish more people knew about special immigrant juvenile status because, it's designed to help children who've been abused, abandoned, or neglected. And there's so much that can be done for young people that if you know somebody who's here undocumented in your school, a family friend, please send them this video. I cannot tell you how many people that we have helped who had no idea about SIJS until they heard a video or they heard something I discussed about SIJS, and now they have green cards, So this is a really, really, really great way to get your papers. Now, what else? I'm thinking of what else to add for SIJS, but you can get, like I said, you can get your work permits. You're able to work while you're waiting for your green card, and all that. So it's a great relief. So let me see if I can answer a couple of questions, and that will be it for today. So Mark Ferguson says, hello, good day to you. Good day to you too, Mark. Mark says he filed VAWA in April 2023. He got his prima facie and he did his fingerprint. So the question is, do you have any idea when I'll get my first work permit? So, Mark, that's a really, really great question. We are seeing work permits based on VAWA anywhere from 6 to 10 months, really. That's the average. I mean, it could come earlier, it could come a little later. You got a prima facie, that's awesome. So, just, wait. April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. That's about 7 months. So give it a couple of months and see, how that works. You can also make an expedited request if there's a humanitarian reason why you need your work permit as soon as possible. Okay. I hope that helped. So let's see if I can get some questions on Instagram. Let's see on Instagram. Can you put your email ID? Okay, so Raj Sun Rana says you want my email for a T visa case. That would be support SUPPORT at Odunlami Law ODUNLAMILAW.com. All right, thank you. I love T visa cases. That's another humanitarian pathway for people who have been trafficked. So let me look at the next question. Let's see. Guys, if you have any questions, this is a good time to put it on the on the chat, and I'll try to answer as much as I can. So Real Man 2010 says, question for you, ma'am. I want my brother to come visit or stay here in the United States. So Real Man, well, first of all, the different pathways for your brother to come, he could come on a B1, B2 visa, which he has to prove to the satisfaction of the embassy that he will return. That's a visa that is very discretionary, right? If the officer conducting the interview thinks that there's a risk that the person will not come back to their country, they're likely to deny you, and that denial, which is called a 214B denial, is not appealable. Your brother could apply to come to school here on an F1 visa, or if your brother has a special skill, he could do EB1, EB2, EB3. You might want to talk to an attorney and get properly screened, or you can file for your brother, but that's if you're a U.S. citizen, but that's going to take literally nothing less than 12 years. Really, it's taking a long time these days. All right. I hope that was helpful. Let's see. So Ife Olua says, after the I-360 form, will I be getting a work authorization the next stage? So Ife Olua, that's a really great question. And you have to have, for you to get a work permit, if you file the I-360, you can get the work permit in two ways. If you file just the I-360 form without anything else, you're going to wait until the I-360 is approved, which could take anywhere from 2 years to 2.5 years, maybe even more. And then you will get your work permit when the I-360 is approved. Or if you file the I-360 along with the I-485 adjustment of status forms, typically you'll get a work permit anywhere between 6 to 10 months, maybe more, maybe less. Okay. Angela says, can an SIJ child file for her mom? That's a fantastic question, Angela. An SIJ, somebody who got their papers or green card through SIJ, cannot file for their parent. And the reason is because they want to avoid collusion where parents pretend to have abused their kids or lie about it so that the kids can get a green card and ultimately file for them. So an SIJ petitioner who gets their green card through SIJ cannot file for their parents. That's a great question. Thank you. So Finance Shandy says, when SIJ is approved and has a deferred for 4 years, please, what does that mean? So the way it works now, when your SIJ is approved, right, you have a deferred status, which means the person who got the SIJS approval cannot be deported. But because there's such a backlog, right, the SIJ petitioner has to wait until their priority date is reached before they can apply for their adjustment of status. And it's because I think the retrogression is, I don't remember that, maybe 2018, 2019. Basically, they're working on cases from 2018, 2019. That's what I think. I don't recall off the top of my head. But so they have to wait. You have to look at the visa bulletin every month because it changes usually every month to see what cases they're working on. Now, a year ago, the priority date was current for SJIS. So at that time, we're filing the I-360 and the adjustment of status together. And we were getting green cards for our clients within like 5 months, 9 months, less than a year. In fact, I think the longest we ever got was 10 months, maybe 10 months. But we were getting some 5 months, 6 months, a lot of them actually. So this is all due to the backlog. But the backlog is here. Is it going to change? It may. Sometimes, they get caught up. Sometimes, they're backlogged again. So, I can't really say, but SIJS approval gives you a deferred status, means you cannot be deported. It also gives you it also gives you a work permit that allows the person to work while they're waiting for their case, which is really helpful for a lot of young people. Allows them to go to school, all that kind of good stuff. Mr. Boki says, can she use her I-797 to get a driver's license. Ms. Aboki, I-797 is just it's not anything. It doesn't give you any status or any anything. It's just it's a notice. That's all it is. Notice of what's going on with your case. Let's see. Joe Kalonge says, is there any state in the U.S. where immigrants cannot be deported? There's no state that by law immigrants cannot be deported. Now, there's some states that the deportation process goes faster, some states it goes slower, but in general, the Biden administration has indicated that they're not looking to put people in deportation proceedings who are not on the priority list. So no, there's no state where you can go and you will not be deported, but there's some states that are more immigrant friendly, and there's some states that are less, such as Florida and Texas. So somebody says, Kishan says, what month can I put in my request to EXPL my I-131? Well, I-131 is your advanced parole, but I don't understand the question. So maybe ask again, okay? So Unruly Truly says, can you adjust your status without marrying as an adult in the US? More than 10 years. I think you're kind of mixing two questions. So can you adjust your status without marrying in the United States? Of course, there are many pathways. You can adjust your status if under any humanitarian grounds, the U visa, victim of crime, the T visa, trafficking, if your child over the age of 21 files for you and you were inspected and admitted, now the 10 years you're talking about, there's no law about 10 years except what I suspect you're trying to talk. You're saying is the cancellation of removal, which if your removal proceedings and you've been here 10 years continuously before being placed in removal, and you can show that you are you haven't committed certain crimes and you have a qualifying relative, you could get a green card through that way. So I think that's what you're talking about. But those are two different questions, Unruly. All right. So Finance Shandy says, can you help with SJIS from Chicago? But their father also just moved to the United States, but he doesn't live in the same state with them. So Finance Shandy, where the abusive parent is not relevant. What is relevant is, was there abuse, was there neglect, was there abandonment? The only thing that's relevant is that the children are in the United States. And yes, we can help you from Chicago. So call my office, 973-993-1900. All right, let me see. Let me ask a couple of questions in Abiodun wants help with his NIW EB2 or EB3 case. Call my office, 973-993-1900. And AOJ Jeffrey says, I have a VAWA case ongoing on my I-130. My mom filed for me has been approved. Can I also proceed with it? AOJ Jeffrey, that's a great question. And I don't know enough about your case to give you specific advice, but I'm just going to give you general advice. You can have more than 2 petitions going on. Now, if your mother filed an I-130 for you, right, and it's approved, it does not mean you can adjust your status. Because if you're out of status and your mother's I-130 approval would not allow you to adjust your status within the United States without you filing a waiver and leaving the country and coming back in through consular processing. So if you're out of status, your mother's I-130 is not, just the approval is not going to be helpful. There's a more. Now, if you have a VAWA case, it wouldn't matter whether you're out of status. All right. So those are things that you need to think about. Okay, guys, it was fun. I got to go now. Okay. So I will come back again. I have another great topic that I want to talk to you about. It's about a law that came down, and it's really important that you guys hear about this. So hit the notification button so that next time when I come on, you will be notified and you can listen to this conversation that everyone who is an immigrant or knows an immigrant needs to listen to, because it's that important. All right. So take care, guys. Have a great day.